Good day, everyone. This is David Ellis, and I'm on the IHN podcast with Amy Kruzik.
Hello.
Amy, introduce yourself to the audience.
Hello, I'm Amy Kruzik.
All right. Today, we're going to be going through wellness and health and spiritual trends. So I think Amy has a bunch of wellness trends. And personally speaking, guys, you know how I feel about that. I do not like trends. I don't like trends. So some of them, I suppose, have some benefit, but most of them are pretty exploitative. So, Amy, go ahead.
Okay, so the first trend in the health trend is the GLP-1. Okay.
We're starting hot and heavy. As usual. Okay, so GLP-1, that is a peptide-based health trend. And what it does, it basically enables you to lose weight quicker. Right?
It does. It helps obesity and type 2 diabetes.
Yes. Okay, so now, when prescribed by a doctor, there are benefits to that, right? But I think people are abusing it quite a bit. I think people are. I mean, like, if you weigh 130 pounds, why are you on a GLP? Why are you on that? Why? I just don't get it. And I think people generally tend to find ways to escape exercising because exercising is work, right? So before that, it was what is that pregnancy hormone that they were injecting into themselves and so on. And before that, it was lipo. And before that, it was something else. Listen, there is no magic formula. The magic formula is get up, exercise, move, eat correctly, or how should I say, don't eat bad stuff in certain cases, depending on your metabolism. And you're going to be fine.
Yeah, but guess what? This is a trend that skinny is fashionable. It started way back. It's still in the DNA of the mind, if there is such a thing. So
I am going to counter that. It depends on the culture. Most cultures throughout history do not look at skinny, especially when it comes to women, as a really good thing. It's just a recent thing that has happened. It really is. These unattainable body structures that people have. Listen, I'm gonna guys.
Wait.
That's actually an issue for me. But go ahead.
No, I understand the culture and all that, and I understand because remember there was a trend where they started changing the look of magazines and having what would they call it? Fuller women?
Equally as bad. We just can't have a happy medium, can we? We can't just have normal looking people on the magazines. So it's either the 1% that are below 100 pounds, 95 pounds, and so on, or we have the opposite side where you have people who are like 300 pounds plus. Now I understand that the people at the 300-pound mark were marginalized throughout the last few decades and stuff like that. But that is also not the general population. This is not the majority of the population. What happened to the days when the majority decides? Okay, when I went into Target, and if you're going to Target or Sears or Walmart or whatever else, the majority of the people are average size. They're not. And I understand that skinny people need love too, and big people need love too, and so on. But when it takes over entire trends, it's not healthy.
I know. So I think I think that there's, when you take this, and I know someone in my family who's taking it, it gives you that sunken face. You can tell when people are on it. It gives you the sunken face. Sorry, guys, but it's so true, and it does something to the gastrointestinal, the stomach.
Mm-hmm.
It tells you not to eat, is what it does.
Yes, it tells your body not to eat.
Yeah. So what's the point? I thought healthy was eating. Back in the day, it was exercise, eat right, and sleep.
And there's not going to be a formula that you could come up with in a pill form, syringe form, right? However you taking it, sniffing form, I don't care what, that works better than exercise, eating correctly, and so on. Everything else is going to be a risk.
Yeah.
Everything else is going to just be a risk. So, like anything you're putting inside your veins or popping whatever pill that you're popping is going to be a risk, right?
Yeah.
People always want to take the shortcut. And here's the thing. I say this in all earnest. Okay? When you earn something, you tend to value it more. Take, for example, people who have taken liposuction.
Mm-hmm.
They've gone to a surgeon. The surgeon, I don't know why plastic surgeons are listed under healthcare. Okay, I understand that if you're in an accident, that's another, we're going to go down that road at some point in time. If you're in an accident and you're badly scarred, you need a plastic surgeon. But if you're just in it for the vanity, oh my God, really? When you earn something through exercise, you value it more. You value the way you look. You can absolutely so on. People who have taken lipo, they've gone to doctors, they've had the fat removed, and they kept eating and the fat came back because that's the way the body is. It is problematic that way, okay? And this is coming from somebody, I have studied medical aesthetics, so I can tell you that any kind of body-changing procedure that doesn't come with diet and nutrition as part of the program is useless to you. Absolutely.
Yeah, which these don't. The GLP-1s don't.
Yeah, well, it's telling your brain that you're full and you don't need to eat, which would be the equivalent of starving yourself, which is why I have an issue with most diet and fitness trends.
And you lose muscle. You lose your muscle on this stuff.
Yes, muscle is actually kind of important, for going up and down steps and stuff like that.
Yes.
All right, so you may be skinny, and there is such a thing as skinny fat. Skinny fat is, it's when people are skinny, but they're really, really soft all over. And there's no consistency to them because there's no muscle. So when you're really, really skinny, you could be skinny and fat at the same time. You will appear skinny, but the fact of the matter is you're going to have a lot of loose flesh. You're going to have a lot of soft areas in your body. And that may be attractive from far away. It's not going to be attractive up close. Okay?
Yeah. Well, okay. So it's funny because I'm thinking like, what's in the boardroom when they have these, they're talking about GLPs and helping people who are obese and need it, or type 2. How do you distinguish between the scientist in the room and the marketing in the room?
You don't. So I'll tell you who in most companies exist to make a profit.
Yeah.
If there's a company that is producing peptides, believe me when I tell you, the secondary concern is people's health. Believe me when I tell you that. So if there's a company that's producing anything, it could be peptides, it could be vaccines. The secondary concern is going to be your health. The primary concern is profit. And I don't understand why most pharmaceuticals companies, people think, oh, Pfizer or Moderna or whatever else, it doesn't matter who the pharmaceutical company is. They exist to help people and promote health and wellness. No, they exist to make a profit. And once you understand that, you will understand that products that come out of these companies will have your health as a secondary, not as a primary concern.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So this second trend, I know nothing about, but you may. Testosterone and steroids. It's a huge trend. Not just for bodybuilders anymore. Men and women are experimenting with it. What's that all about?
Okay, so you said two things there. Testosterone. when men get over a certain age, theoretically, if they have not been exercising, they've just been going to work and coming home and watching the game on TV and sitting down in front of a screen, their testosterone drops significantly, and it usually manifests itself as a lack of sexual desire. It manifests itself as not being able to keep or maintain erections and that kind of thing. Okay?
Okay.
And that is sufficiently disturbing to a man to go get something in a syringe. I'm going to give you another option. How about you go do some yoga, do some male Kegels, and actually lift weights, which will promote the production of testosterone in your system. It absolutely will, right? But it's better in a syringe. Now, the other thing about testosterone, what it does, because the male hormone, it tends to have side effects depending on who you are. It will definitely make you look fitter because it'll promote the growth of muscle. But it will also make you a little bit more aggressive, right? Which brings us to the next thing, which is steroids. Like peptides, steroids have a place in healthcare. And the thing about it is that, let's say even if you're congested, you have a nasal steroid, right?
Yeah.
And they work. So what steroids do, they're basically amplifiers for most of the gym population. So somebody on steroids is going to they're going to look fit quicker. They're going to get stronger, right? Depending on the steroid and so on. The problem is that steroids tend to hijack the testosterone production process, which means that parts of you will shrink rapidly. I'm not like just parts of you is going to shrink rapidly if you're a man. Women who are on steroids expect unforeseen side effects.
Uh-oh.
You may need to shave in places that you didn't need to shave before, like your face. That is a possibility. And I know that there are new cool steroids that are out there, but the old steroids like Dianabol and so on, right? What you would be experiencing as a woman, the elimination of your periods, conception is going to be very difficult for a woman on steroids and so on. So a lot of female bodybuilders, they will experience a deepening of the voice, but they'd obviously experience the proliferation of muscle tissue. But I can guarantee you that you're not going to be feeling like yourself if you're on steroids and you're a woman. That is for 100% sure. And that might be a good thing or that might be a bad thing. I mean, really and truly, it makes a big difference when it is that you're actually training. Now, have I ever been on steroids? No, I have no interest in anything like that. I have no interest in anything in a syringe. So there is that, right? But I know lots of people who have been on steroids, and I can tell you that it's not something that is particularly, it's not as bad as people think it is, okay? So people think I'm going to just take a dose of steroids and I'm going to drop dead one day. No, that's not how it works. The people who drop dead from using steroids, the bodybuilders who do that, they're taking enough to supply a horse, okay? And so the heart can't take it anymore, and so the heart gives out and they die early, okay? But for generally, people tends to use people who use steroids, like in just regular gym members and who use steroids. They're not in any major health risk, which is why it continues to be that way, right? And there are new cool steroids that are a little diluted and they've taken out a lot of the side effects that they would have experienced. However, it is still cheating in the end because, as I have said before, when you work for something and you earn it, you value it a lot more.
Yes, agreed. So the question to ponder would be, are we enhancing health or chasing appearances?
If you're in the gym and you're just there for the appearance, then I'm going to go off on a limb here and say that you're not actually healthy mentally.
Yeah.
The reason why I say that you're not healthy mentally, because you're seeking validation through your outward appearance and not through what's inside of yourself, like your brain power, your personality, those kinds of things. So you're not necessarily healthy in that sense. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. And here's the other thing: somebody could look healthy and be absolutely messed up inside. All right. And I don't mean just personality wise. I mean the biochemistry could be all messed up. So let's say you're a gym member, you have taken steroids, you're on peptides and steroids. Okay. You're eating badly, you're still drinking and so on. You may be doing drugs on the side. Who knows what you're doing? Narcotics. Who knows what you're doing? You're going to appear healthy. You're going to present as healthy, but it's only a matter of time until that lifestyle catches up with you. Yeah?
Yeah.
Because when you are insecure inside in terms of people liking you and you try to, I have muscles now, right? And this is what you're presenting to people with nothing else. Eventually you must know in some deep level of your mind, they're just here for the appearances. They're not here for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say something, but I'm not. Okay, let's move on to supplements. Supplements. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay.
Sure.
When does supplementation become a substitution?
Okay.
And wait, hold on. And are we buying hope as, for a reason? Or is that not for a reason, but are we buying hope that these are going to work and I don't have to eat healthy food?
When you're taking 10 pills in the morning, 15 pills in the middle of the day, another 30 pills at the end of the day, you might be crossing over into that area where obsession lives.
Yeah.
Okay, so supplementation is good, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Because the food that we're eating right now is not the same food as it was a few decades ago. Okay? That is a statement of fact. You guys can go read the research on that yourselves. The food that you are eating now is less nourishing. So most people are undernourished in some way, shape, or form or fashion. Added to that is that people have become spoiled. Okay, and I'll explain what I mean by that. We developed this wonderful culture, especially in North America, where you have fast food. So you're only eating the things that you like, as opposed to the things that you need. So if you go to McDonald's every day, you're going to be deficient in something.
Of course.
Because McDonald's makes many claims, great taste, whatever else, but what it doesn't claim is that we provide you with all essential nutrients and minerals. It doesn't do that. Okay? And so if you go to McDonald's every day, you're gonna be deficient. So we have spoilt ourselves. We no longer eat things that come from a garden, right? Yeah. So we used to have a food pyramid. That used to be what we went on back in the day, and now it's a pie chart of the plate, right? But what we're saying is that the majority of your plate should have been vegetables. Okay? Yes. And you're supposed to work with your body's natural rhythms. That's what we're saying. So in the morning, your body's trying to eliminate stuff. In the middle of the day, you need energy to get through your workday. And at the end of the day, when you're winding down, you need protein to absolutely repair all the things that have happened during the day. Okay, good. Supplementation is absolutely important. So as an example, if you're vegan, you might want to supplement with protein. Okay? If you are someone who eats at McDonald's every day, you might need a few vitamins, and I don't mean one multivitamin. That is a lie. Most people think that they could go to some store. You notice that you don't see multivitamins around anymore? Because it was always a lie. Yeah. Okay? One pill is not going to give you everything you need for the day. And then the sources of the vitamins that were inside these things were useless and your body could not absorb them. Okay?
No. You peed them out.
You peed them straight out. And then they try to amp the amounts so you get 120%, 400% of your daily value. Why do I need 400% of my daily value? Okay? If you are depending on vitamins to give you the nutrients that you need to function, I can guarantee you the vitamin pill is not going to help you. You're going to get sick. You need food. The reason why you need food is because the food is in a state that is already ready to absorb. Your body is not ready to absorb a pill. Yes, you could pre-digest the pill and so on. You could do lots of things. But I'm telling you that you actually need to eat food because it's the molecules of food, when you break them down, are readily absorbable by your body.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to say that I was part of that trend when you would see something new come out and they would exploit it and say, you need this. But I found my own cocktail that I have for my own little thing that I do only once in the morning, not throughout the day.
Yeah. So, when you said the word cocktails, I'm thinking like drinks and
no. Right? I have my vitamin cocktail. So just find that because it shows up in my blood work as, wow, this is working. I can see it.
Yes, it
my
does.
My pH levels are good. Yeah, my pH levels are good. My protein levels, all the levels.
I am going to simplify and complicate things. First, let me complicate things for you. Healthcare and wellness is not a simple thing, okay? There are a number of factors that come into play, which is why I do DNA screening on people. Mm-hmm. I DNA screen you for diet, fitness, and health because you don't want to guess what's working for you and what's not working for you. You want to know what your body is calling for. And which is why I urge everybody that I meet to get yourself tested. Okay? Because you could be doing everything right and still end up sick. Yes. And I'll explain to you what I mean. Right? There are some people who would be the normal diet, the normal healthy diet that we think of. It would not work for them. It just won't. It won't work to keep them healthy. Why? Because the DNA, the way they process certain things, is calling for more of a particular mineral, vitamin, or protein or carbs. Okay? And so it's not as simple. So that's the complicated part. Okay? Keeping in mind that most people do spend at least, and I'm going to give you a statistic here. You guys can research that statistics. You spend about 7% of your day doing unhealthy things. I'm going to repeat that. You spend about 7% of your day, every day, doing things that are counterproductive to your health. Okay? So for those of you who are taking that shot of whiskey in the evening, that would be counterproductive to your health. Oh, I'm just going to vape a little, counterproductive to your health. So your body has to work in deficit all the time. You're doing something that's counterproductive to your health. Oh, wow. Well, I see that tiramisu is right there. I wouldn't want it to go to waste. I'm just going to gobble it down. Okay.
I deserve it.
Yeah, I deserve
that.
It. Yes, correct.
I worked hard at the gym today. I deserve it.
You go to the movies with your family and friends. Popcorn, heavy on the salt, heavy on the butter.
I know.
You don't need that many lipids, but you're going to be heavy on the salt, heavy on the butter. Whereas, and your arteries are screaming, but you just ate a salad. What's going on, right? Salads. So the salad is gross. Oh my God, there's so many green leaves in there. I will smother it in ranch dressing.
Oh, yeah.
Potatoes. Right? Potatoes is fine as it is. I mean, like you got your carbs in there and are ready to... Nah. We'll pour some ketchup on that. And make sure that it's done deep fry that potato as well. And we have fries, right? You spend at least 7% of your day every day doing things that are counterproductive to your health. And the thing about it that if you take these things away from people, they would become very, very depressed really, really quick. Okay? So you mean I can't go to the movies and have popcorn? Nah, I'm not going to give that up. No.
I know. That's why you turned to Ozempic, I guess.
Ozempic, that's the name I was looking for. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. That's why you turned to Ozempic, right? Because you don't want to give up certain things. But by that same token, and the thing about it, this healthy thing is not fair. If you ate a slice of cheesecake, you would have to run 9 kilometers to get rid of the calories you just took in. So that's not fair, right? So your body continually works in deficit, and it's just amazing that people are still like walking around. But the thing about it is that illnesses are catching up to us really quickly, huh?
Yeah, they are. But I have a question for you about that. Now that you just said you can eat cheesecake, does your DNA do testing such as metabolism? Because why can certain people eat cheesecake and popcorn with butter and everything and still look the same?
Because their DNA is resistant and metabolizes lipids. Their methylation. Okay, so your body has detoxification phases. Okay, activation, conjugation, and methylation, and that happens at a cellular level. I'll explain to you what that means. So, a lot of people are walking around very, very toxified. Absolutely so. I'll explain to you what I mean by that. When I say that you spend 7% of your day doing something that's counterproductive to your health, it might be your workplace, okay? So if you work in a steel factory and you're welding and stuff like that, you are exposed to heavy metals in every shape, form, or fashion that there is. Heavy metals sit into your system. So what happens is that your body is toxified. Then you go home, you don't do anything to help your body process these stuff. And let's get back to the DNA. Some people have highly resistant DNA to toxicity, okay? And some people don't. So you will notice that Grandpa Jones from way back when, he smoked every day since he was 15 up until 100, and he lived a long and full life. But if you try it, you're going to die. Absolutely, you're going to die very, very early because his DNA was resistant. And this is the thing that I try to urge people to get tested, because you don't know what you can get away with.
Right. Yeah, good point.
Okay. You don't know what you can get away with, but what is absolutely important to most people is that they are aware that their metabolism is calling for a certain kind of food at a certain kind of dosage and stuff like that. Okay? So that's basically why it's important to know your body and know yourself at the DNA level.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's good stuff. Well, we've taken care of the health trends. Let's start with the spiritual trends.
Oh God.
That's happening. What about, now, galactic history. This is extremely popular, correct? People channel Palladians, Arcturians, Lemuria. And some people find meaning in that, right? The people channel this information. And so they kind of replace their real life with the cosmic identity. So, look at your face. So, tell us something about this popularity. Is it still trending, or is it kind of peaking and going back down?
Spirituality on the whole usually has two different kinds of people in it. People who have sincere devotion and love of spirituality because it improves their lives. And then you have the escape people who escape into spirituality because the life that they're living is not suitable for them, or they don't like it very much. Okay? For the second group of people, any kind of spiritual trend is a bad trend. Okay? And I'll explain to you why that is. Because assuming that I know my galactic history and I know that I'm part Arcturian or part Palladian or whatever else, how is that going to help me pay my bills? That's all I want to know. How am I going to pay the rent at my office? How am I going to get up and go to work and so on? How is this going to help me? Okay? Because you see, spirituality has two phases: the understanding and the knowing, and then the application. Most people can quote from different books, arcane, spiritual books. A bunch of people who can quote from the Bible off the top of their heads. Are they good people? No. What sense does it make you being able to quote from any spiritual book and not actually applying it in your life? So if you are a spiritual person, this is theoretically what should theoretically happen. You shouldn't necessarily be afraid of reality because you exist to make your own reality. Okay? So if you are a magician, as an example, let's say, oh, I'm studying the occult and magic and so on, then I expect you to be successful because you have the magic thing, right? If you are a manifester and you're talking about manifestation from all different angles, I would expect you to be able to manifest the life that you want. Because talking is one thing. Talking is one thing, doing is another. It absolutely is. And so the knowing part, the cognitive part, has to meet the application part, right? So I think all the people who are manifestors and magicians and whatever it is that you're doing, if you cannot manifest stuff and you keep complaining, oh, the system is against me, then you're not a manifester, are you?
Or they're manifesting something and it hasn't happened yet. Oh, but it will. Like that. Like 3 years ago they said this and now this is still not happening. Do you see it's like I don't know what they're doing. What are they doing? Because the reason I say this is because they talk a good, this
game,
and you see nothing happening.
Yes. And here's the thing. And then they look at people.
Wait, hold on.
Go ahead.
Wait, hold on. Because Joe down the street can do it like in a month. And he's not even spiritual, but he can do it in a month.
Yes. When you judge the muggles, what they call muggles.
Yes.
When you judge the muggles for being muggles because they don't know all the ins and outs of the spirituality and all the enlightened books that you read and so on, and all the gurus that you follow and so on, please pay attention that muggle got up, went to work every day, and worked for his car, his house, his everything else, right? And he manifested the life that he wanted to manifest. So yeah, problems.
Yeah. That's my husband right there, you just said. And he's a muggle. So, I don't know.
And that man works. So who's the magician? The person with or without? Listen, if you're homeless on the street and you can quote from every arcane text that there is, okay? And then you have a bunch of people who got up and they don't know any arcane text. So which one of you guys is better off? All right, you know your galactic history, you know your Arcturian, and all this material stuff is beneath me. That is sour grapes. A lot of them go that route as well. That is sour grapes. So, yeah, I honestly, I would caution people who are spiritualists that there are two phases of spirituality, and the application phase is just as important as the knowledge phase or the cognitive phase. Know thyself is one thing. Being thyself is another one. Okay?
Oh, they go hand in hand.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, they actually go hand in hand. I like that. There's a question here. So when we went back, when I talked about the Arcturians and the Palladians, which could be a myth, We don't really know, do we? Can myth still be valuable even if it's not historical and we haven't seen them and we're just reading about them?
A few years ago, I ran a podcast called UCM VIP. Here's the thing. There are aspects of myths that have truth, okay? It cannot be coincidence that every culture on earth is pretty much saying the same things in different ways, okay? The human experience sees things the same way. So if every culture on earth is saying, yeah, we were visited, then chances are we probably were, okay?
Yeah.
In terms of the archaeological significance, okay? And this is an age-old argument when we're talking about the universe and how vast it is, and the arrogance of thinking, yeah, we're the only ones here in millions and millions and billions and trillions of miles of space. So it is possibly quite arrogant, and I caution people who are religious when they're listening to my podcast to think that you are the center of the universe. We're the only ones there. God only created this place, and that's all that there is. That's kind of arrogant. It kind of is a little bit. You're assuming that you are very, very important. And this is the thing that I think a lot of people don't seem to get. The day, let's hypothetically say, the day that we're visited by aliens and so on, the whole religious thing has to be revamped at 100%. Because what are you going to do if the Palladians visit us? You're going to send missionaries to convert them to Christianity? What are we talking about here? You see, this makes no sense, right? And so when you're talking about belief systems, you have to think in terms of, am I wrong? Start from the point of view that I may be wrong. And so, like, if you ask me personally, I believe in everything and nothing at the same time. Everything has a seed of truth, right?
Yeah.
All right. And the next part of it, which is the other part of spirituality, is how does it apply in this life?
Yeah.
Okay? So I'll give you an example of an application. Assuming that you thought you were Palladian, right? And based on the description that we have of Palladians, they mimic a particular race on Earth, right? Then I'm assuming that you're practicing third eye meditation. Then I'm assuming that you're practicing the concept of inner sight and awareness and so on. That's what I'm assuming that you do. If you're just thinking that you're a Palladian and that's it, and that's all there is to it, then you're in the cognitive phase and you're not in the application phase.
Okay. All right, so let's skip to something similar. Let's skip to the spiritual part. And I don't even know how this became a spiritual thing, but Reiki and yoga. So it seems like everybody can get Reiki in a weekend. And it seems like people can get yoga practiced in a weekend.
Both of these practices are lifelong commitments. Okay. Both of these practices are lifelong commitments. If you are doing Reiki, I suppose the certification process, they have minimized it. I remember when it first started, it used to take a year to do the first degree. You had to wait another year and then do another year to do the second degree because it involves the practice of symbols. Even the Japanese, when they're learning kanji, which is what your master symbol, Usui symbol, is, that takes years and years of practice to do that with thought and awareness.
Yeah. Well, what happened?
What happened where?
What happened? Why is it now a weekend? Why has it become such a trend?
Because it's commercially expedient for it to be a weekend. So people teach that in a weekend, and they're hoping that people will take the initiative and practice on their own. but that's not how it was obviously originally taught. Hatha yoga as an example, okay? 3 years to become just the basic teacher, like whatever, right? It takes long to not only learn yoga, because there is the academic side of yoga and then there is the practice side of yoga, depending on the yoga that you're doing. And I think a lot of people generally tend to think of yoga as a hobby. Yoga is a
to go teach at a
lifestyle.
gym. Yeah.
It's a lifestyle. It is a complete lifestyle. And one of the basic tenets of yoga is try to be a good person, right? And, little things like vanity and stuff like that. I mean, I could go through the commandments of yoga if you want me to. I could go through them right now. There are 5 yamas and 5 niyamas. Yamas are things that you should not do. And let me see if I can remember this off the top of my head, because I learned old school yoga. Absolutely. Yeah. The yamas are ahimsa, non-violence, okay? Brahmacharya, which is continence of the sensual desires, right? Brahmacharya, Ashoka, which is basically giving credit, not stealing of credit for people, okay? Asteya, which is not stealing credit from people. Okay, Satya, which is truthfulness or non-lying. I mean, what was that? And Aparigraha, which is non-possessiveness. Okay? So these are the 5 commandments. The 5 niyamas are things that you should do, or observances are tapas, which is voluntary self-challenge, which means that you are not perfect. You were here to actually learn and grow and so on. So you have to voluntarily challenge yourself. Whether it be something as simple as getting over your fear of coming on a podcast, as an example, this is voluntary self-challenge. Santosha is contentment, which is the being able to be content with the things that you have. Everybody wants stuff, right?
Yeah.
But contentment and inner contentment is something that you have to practice, okay? Even when people are in relationships with other people, as an example, they want this from that person, they want this person, and they want that person to do this and act this way or whatever. It doesn't matter, right? Business people are greedy. So Santosha is a kind of internal contentment. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Ishvara Pranadhana, which is surrendering to the ultimate, is the third one. And what it does is it allows people to understand that you are not the center of the universe. You are not you are a drop in the ocean. The ocean is in you, but you are a drop in the ocean. So be respectful to other people, right? While understanding your godness inside. Okay?
Yeah.
So be respectful to other people, be respectful to yourself. Okay? So the people that are in Walmart turning their carts 45 degrees into the aisle, the people that are being either gender misogynistic, misandrist, racist, or whatever the hell else there is out there, you are not respecting other people, and as a result, the mirror reflects, and you're not respecting yourself. Socha is the eating of pure foods. That was obviously for people who don't understand the concept of biogenesis. Eating of pure foods doesn't mean veganism. It means that every day you try to eat, you support life with life. So you eat plants, right? You support life with life, you support death with death. So if you're eating at McDonald's, as an example, every day, I'm just saying, apart from the lettuce in that hamburger, I don't think anything else is alive in there, right? I did miss one. Swadhyaya, which is basically the ability to keep your intellect alive. So you need to learn stuff. Now, if you follow those 10 commandments,
man,
if everybody followed those 10 commandments, you have to keep your intellect alive. You have to engage in meaningful discourse. It can't be just, oh, look at my nails. My nails are so pretty. Do you think my nails are pretty? You know,
okay.
That is one yoga principle that is very much overlooked. You have to engage in meaningful discourse with another person. It doesn't have to be Einstein level E is equal to MC squared, right? It doesn't have to be any of that, but it has to be something meaningful, like, what do you think about the nature of reality? What do you think about the state of the world? You have to engage in intellectual discourse with people to grow.
Exactly. I hate to burst your bubble, but do you know that there's yoga called goat yoga and beer, BEER, beer yoga? I didn't look these up. I remember goat yoga.
There's also naked yoga, and there's yoga with wine and cheese, and all of these movements came out of California, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
I am not going to. Here's the thing. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this.
Okay, say it.
You can improve on a system. I have no problem with that. Okay. The word yoga, unfortunately, means union or marriage. I don't know what you're union and marrying if you are doing bear yoga. I just have a problem with the concept of becoming married or achieving union with the bear. And so I suppose it can be an amplifier that makes you appreciate the bear more. But I'm going to tell you.
Maybe they do it in frat houses. I don't know. Maybe that's where they do the beer yoga.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Isn't that amazing?
I know. Okay, but David, you know what? When you were talking about yoga, you have a class that you teach that is a certified yoga class.
Yes,
and I hope you're going to be doing it soon.
I will be doing it soon. I think a lot of people tend to be resistant to the ideas of yoga being a practice. Yeah. It's for most people, it's just a hobby and it's not a practice. So the yoga trend that hit the North America, I just want to remind people that yoga was not invented by people who were affluent enough to buy yoga mats, yoga paraphernalia, and so on. Okay? It was invented by ascetics in India. These are people that didn't have enough food to eat. So yoga does not necessarily operate in application when things are okay. All right? When you have disposable income and you're overeating and going to McDonald's afterwards. Yoga operates when things are not okay. Can you maintain your center? Can you maintain your internal and external awareness and dignity when things are not okay, when you are highly stressed and pressured, right? That's what makes yogis yogis.
Yeah. Wow. I think that background that we have, that's really what I was feeling as you were talking about that at the end.
Correct. Like that should be your internal state right there.
That should be your internal state. So I was going to ask you for closing thoughts, but I think you just nailed it. And I just want to end with a quote by Carl Sagan that says, keep an open mind, but not so open that your brain falls out.
That's excellent. That's an excellent quote. Keep an open mind, but not so open that your brain falls out. Brilliant.
So be discernment with all those trends out there, guys and girls. Yes. Well, you know what? There is actually, we got to do a part 2 of this because I have more information, but you know.
All right. That's not a problem.
Good to end. Okay.
All right, guys. We'll see you in the next episode. Take care.
Bye. Hi, everybody. This is Amy Kruzik. I am a certified hypnotherapist, from the International Association of Counselors in Therapy and the Professional Board of Hypnotherapy here in Canada. I am here to announce the opening of our new Unified Health Systems online store, where you will find professional courses and done-for-you products at reasonable prices in the market. Check them out at shop.unifiedhealthsystems.com. Bye, everybody. See you there.